And we are live, and oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. Oh no.
¡Eh, chupacabra! Miren, chicos, es el chupacabra.
Some people say they have seen the chupacabra. After some tequila, he was dancing the lambada. We don't know where he has come from, making all the Mexicanos looking like a dum-dum. They say that he's a monkey. I think the whole story's just a little monkey.
There's a monkey-eyed creature that they call the chupacabra. 4 feet tall like a mutant chihuahua. In Mexico City, Puerto Rico, Nicaragua. ¡Eh, chupacabra! Hay un criatura que se llama chupacabra. Es muy feo como si disparraba. Queremos pasar algunas palabras. ¡Oh, chupacabra!
So, after painstakingly organising all the commercials, the intro song, and everything, I pressed the wrong button and reshuffled the entire thing. What a great start to this week's show.
Yes,
Welcome, everybody. Este no bueno. Indeed.
Ay, 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 ay.
Welcome, everybody. You can hear the sound of my voice. You are listening to the Squatchable podcast. We apologise in advance. Joining me, as always, from the shores of Lake Rum, Pirate Phil Pulling. Welcome to the channel.
Hi there.
That was so lame. My brain's just not working. All right, and joining us, returning from his week off, Chubbs.
Greetings to everyone.
And filling in for Nikki again this week, Kevin.
Hello, everyone.
Nikki likes the sound of your voice and is extremely upset that she couldn't make it to here. So,
She got this infatuation for Kevin.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
she was here, then I wouldn't be here. So then, how are you going to do that?
no, you would. No, I asked you to come back because Phil liked you and I liked you.
Oh,
Before Nikki told me, because Nikki always waits until the last minute to tell me that she's not coming to the show. But yeah,
No.
so
well, right. Well. Let's wish her all the best and say we hope you feel better, Nikki. And
oh
it
no,
was-
she's fine. She's doing far worse than being sick right now.
Oh,
Thoughts
okay.
and prayers for Nikki, everybody. She's suffering big time.
Mhm.
All right. If you enjoy Kevin or Chubbs or Phil, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot. Head on over to Bigfooting with Keith and Colin, where this week Keith and Colin will attempt to help get Party Rave Bigfoot a new personality. Not that he needs one. Party Rave Bigfoot. It's one of my favourite, most popular characters for reasons. Without further ado, I am your host, Richard Allen. Let's just get on with it. Our first video is perhaps the most mind-bendiest one for me. Phil sent me to this one to me at the beginning of the week. I said we'd cover it. I watched it, and I'm on the fence. I can't figure out if this is a spoof or if this guy is being serious. I can't figure it out. I watched it and I'm like, this is a spoof. This is surely a spoof because you can hear the piped-in whoops. The dude in a ghillie suit, and it's obviously a ghillie suit. But he seems to be doing it so seriously. But like that Peter Kane guy does it so seriously as well. And I just can't figure out if this is a spoof or if this is a real video. Chubbs, what did you think?
I'll give him an A for presentation. He seemed to know the lore, like bringing up the stench and finding a bone and like acting afraid. But like you said, I immediately recognized the howls, like
Yeah.
the ones we've heard for years. So on that side, I can't say he's spoofing, but he seemed to know what he was doing. Let's put it that way.
If the howls are piped in, you can tell that they've been edited, they've been put in post-recording. That's my takeaway anyway. I'm not an expert. Kevin, what did you think?
Well, here's my 2 cents on it, and it might just take a wee bit of time because I actually did a little bit of research on this cat and find out where he was. which is he lives near Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he's a science teacher, and he does weird stuff like this to engage critical thinking of his students. Now, while I'm watching this video at first, I see a guy who seems to believe exactly what's going on, and is reacting to it. I mean, you look at the guy; he's clearly hyperventilating, and that's why some of the things he's saying, like, I believe that he's lightheaded and nauseous and everything like that. But at the same time, there's you know there's certain things that sort of threw me off in it. There at one point in time, he's up in by the first camera. You can hear gunshots going off in the background. He doesn't seem to even address that, and it's bizarre. And then he goes into the fact that what is this bone? Is this bone a deer or a human? He's talking about identifying the species and everything like that. So I think with you that it is a bit of a head bender because of the fact that I think that he's trying to teach his students to critically think about science, because he is a science teacher, and I mean that's what I think. Now, also on his bio, because I read his CV too, he does say, I want to make it big no matter what type thing. And this is all put out by whatever, Chase Floyd Incorporated. So, I mean, and part of his CV says he's a comedian and a teacher, comedian, scientist, everything like that. And so I mean, there doesn't seem to be any video after this that even references it. And so, I mean, which is odd. But then at the same time, whenever he gets to the end and he's hauling out the shotgun and he says he's not going on there without a shotgun again, that sort of worries me too, because at the same, so I don't quite know how to I don't quite know how to do it. But clearly his traps, the way he set them up and everything like that, could be taken by any kind of an animal. It's clearly a deer bone, or that he's got in his hand. Because if you find, and I find human bones out in Salton before. Believe me, don't touch them. Call the police. You know what I mean? If you think it's a human or whatever. So, there's just too many weird things about it. I mean, that's my take.
Yeah, it's a total mind beat. I've watched it 3 times in total. And every time I'm not sure if he's being serious, but I've got to give him props because it's making me think. I've really spent a lot of time watching this video, so I'm going to give him respect for that. Phil, you asked me to leave you till last to comment on this, and I have. Phil, what are your thoughts?
Well, I sent it to you for the same reason that you found it to be interesting, and that it is a mind-bending video. Yeah, the guy does have more than one website. Kevin is absolutely correct on several points. He teaches 5th grade science. During the Corona days, here we are into the Corona days, he posts videos for his students to respond on and so forth. And in this video, in fact, I don't know if you caught what he was saying near the end, but it looks like he was asking his students for a genus on what this possibly could be if it was real. So I imagine it, I don't know, maybe it's Humanus CB or CD or whatever it's called. I mean, they could come up with all kinds of interesting things about it, that I think that's why he's trying to pull it out of his students. And he's incorporating a lot of what you would normally expect in a Bigfoot video deliberately. He has no other setup videos prior to this nor after it. So as far as the placing of the cams and all that, there was nothing prior to that to indicate why or where. At one point in the video, for example, he posted a bait. I think, what was it, an apple or a pear?
An apple. It was
An apple. And then he says, "Oh yeah, but the crow ate it." Crows, generally, I don't think crows eat apples. They'll eat just about anything, but eat the entire apple, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a complete setup. When he first starts out, I think he's feigning being out of breath. I think he's acting at that point. I think he's acting throughout the entire thing. Like you said, he's a comedian, or he wants to be a comedian. So I think a lot of this has to do with his entertainment value. So he's going to attempt to make it as real as possible, and yet provide all kinds of fake crap, including the overdubbing, which was almost continuous. The howls and the whoops were almost continuous. At the very beginning, that very first thing I noticed, he was talking. He was continually chattering on and on and on, and you can clearly hear whooping and calls in the background, and yet he just keeps going on and on. And I'm like, okay, well, I've heard that before. You know,
and he goes, "Oh, there was one, but it's
right."
Key. So you can tell it was added post.
So yeah, so it's a deliberate hoax, but I think it was a deliberate hoax with a purpose. Two purposes, actually. One, to kind of introduce himself as a performer, and secondly, to cause a real mind bend for his students to respond to, and perhaps even write a paper on.
Yeah,
it was good video. It made me think. I enjoyed it.
It had a Blair Witch quality to it. I liked it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I'm going to give him a like. Not going to give him a fanfare though, because it was too mind bendery. Enjoy this commercial while.
He sits in judgment. He stands for the law. Kind of looks like a hero and sounds like your paw. He smiles and he laughs, his voice tinged with gravel, but the bad guys gasp when he bangs his big gavel. Judge Wapner. Judge Wapner. When neighbors brawl, when lovers refute, when suppliers and buyers and liars dispute, Wapner won't let those law books get dusty. Got a buddy named Doug and a sidekick named Rusty. Rusty with Wapner. Judge Wapner. Doesn't do it from towers, doesn't do it from steeple. He does it in court, a court called People's. Wapner. People's Court. Judge Wapner. Call him your honor. Judge Wapner. Judge Wapner rules on the People's Court. Song over. Song over.
Judge Wapner, ladies.
A lot of people don't remember him. Well,
Wapner was the best, and Rusty the bailiff, and Doug Llewellyn.
yeah, Rusty was cool.
Yeah.
This is going over my head. So here we are. This next video is an interview with Bob Hieronymus, who is supposedly the man inside the Bigfoot costume in the Patterson Gimlin film. While I do believe the Patterson Gimlin film was hoaxed, I will never believe it was Bob Hieronymus in that suit. It just doesn't add up for me. He can't do the walk at all. And, well, he refuses to do it in this interview. He has done it for his TV show, and it doesn't really look like Patterson walk. I don't trust him. I don't trust Philip Morris. But he does bring up some interesting points about Roger Patterson, which is stuff we all know, that he was a known con man. And it's a bit weird that he managed to get this interesting video when he had that kind of background. Phil, what did you think?
Well, here's kind of the thing. There's good, bad, ups and downs with this entire situation with Hieronymus, because one, he's the right height and size. Two, he was in fact a member of the team. In fact, there were 7, I believe, members of the team, of the expedition team, of which we only know or only see 2 on the video. So we have him coming forward now saying, yeah, he was in the suit. I'm not going to say he was not in the suit. He's obviously much older, or he was at the time of this interview, much older. He's obviously not walking the same. I don't walk the same as I did when I was 25, you know. So it's a toss up there. Also, you got Philip Morris, not the cigarette guy, but the guy who makes these BS suits. I've seen his suits. They suck. The one suit that he said that he recreated as being the Bigfoot suit didn't look anything like it. Hieronymus did put it on. There were some photographs of it. The photographs suck. But the other portion of this was that, yeah, Patterson, you know, he had an intent to go out to film a documentary about Bigfoot. That was his intent from the outset, from the very beginning. And so, yeah, is there a possibility that was a guy in a suit? Yeah, it was a possibility, considering that the suit was, or the person in the suit was about 6'4" to 6'6", somewhere in there. That the Bigfoot was that size, which is fits well into the human size. I don't know. I mean, Hieronymus may have been the guy in the suit. That's all I'm saying. But like you said, do you trust him, especially when he hooks on to Philip Morris and that, and they kind of get together as a team? I think that Hieronymus just didn't realize who made the suit and kind of was suckered in by Philip Morris. You don't know, right? The whole thing is way up in the air.
Yeah.
Peterson had 2 polygraph. One he failed, one he passed. So there's the whole team right there. So it's the same thing as it's always been. It's now over 50 years old, and people are going to argue about this ad nauseum, and it's not going to help anything. It is what it is at this point, and I just think rehashing the same old crap isn't going to bring us any closer to a solution or resolution, other than using, you know, your own mind to determine whether or not you can look at all the factors. And I did, up and down and sideways. I'm going to tell you, the only thing that I can come to conclusively is, if that's a suit, that's one hell of a good suit. And that's it.
That's it. Things are what they are and will be what they will be, in the words of Oscar Wilde. Chubbs, what did you think of this interview?
Well, this is, you know, one of the oldest and most controversial videos and topics when it comes to the subject. I think it's actually a good thing to have his story as the devil's advocate. You know, like, we can argue over if it's a suit or a person in a suit, but this brings up, you know, who else could have been there, and they brought out a lot of Patterson's past, and you know, we know about the camera story and bounce checks or whatnot, but you know, I think we have to look at both sides to where, okay, the suit, if it's a suit, that's one thing, but what about the people? And this is a good example of bringing in a question of who are the people behind all this, and I think it did a good job with that.
Indeed. Kevin, what did you think?
Well, for full disclosure, I'm friendly. I'm not friends, but I'm friends with Bob Gimlin, and I've been around him before. He's very genuine whenever he talks about it. So that we'll just put it that way. The thing that I'm concerned about with these types of things is the amount of research and evidence that we have put into this film without knowing, quite honestly, how genuine it is. I mean, you know, there's certain researchers who that's all they do is look at this film, and then they show it over and over and over again and like come up with new theories and everything like that on it. So, I mean, I'm more interested in the ramifications of it if this ever comes out to be proven that this is false, because there's a lot of people that are going to have egg on their faces. So You never know. It's one of those things where I'm sure at this point in time, eventually, what can't be known will be known, and who knows when that'll be. But it'll be interesting to see who won't even if it does come out to be a hoax, people will deny that it's a hoax. If you see what I'm saying,
Yeah, I mean,
say,
he said something interesting towards the end of this video that people worship the film in the
yeah,
Bigfoot community. And I was like, yeah, that's very true. It is a holy relic in the Bigfoot community.
One interesting point. I've met Bob Gimlin. I spent some time with him, enough to hear his old, Navy stories, which were pretty interesting. But anyway, I will say that as far as Bob Gimlin, yeah, he's a genuine person. I would say so. He's also very friendly and very agreeable. And I think that Patterson realized that he may have had a sucker in Bob. And I think that if it was a setup, that it was set up without Bob's knowledge. And that it just happened in front of both of them. It kind of took Bob by surprise. It happened. And Bob can only report on what he saw at the time. But the interesting thing about Bob is he's such a nice guy, and I've actually witnessed this on my own. He will not disagree with anyone about any point. If you bring up one point, he'll say, oh yes, I absolutely agree with that. And then and then somebody else brings up an opposite point. Oh yes, well absolutely, I agree with that. He is so agreeable and wanting to be liked to such a degree that he will basically accept anything that you want to tell him. So he supports.
Yeah, everyone says that about him.
Yeah, he'll support just about any option that you want to bring forth to him. Another interesting point is, Patterson, he was involved in a small aspect of the Hollywood crowd. That's where he got the idea of doing this documentary. He had a friend who was a country singer in L.A., and that famous Bigfoot yell that you hear on a lot of the 70s, a lot of the early Bigfoot ones, that one there. Well, that was actually done in an LA studio when his buddy, his singer, I can't remember his name, was in the studio, and Bob came in and he wanted to do some kind of a yell, and they did this on tape, and then they slowed it down, and it turned out this way. They added reverb to it, so it was done. Patterson actually did the yell, and it was done in an LA studio.
All right then. That's interesting. All right. I'm not going to give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's just a video. Wasn't that good? Wasn't that bad? If you want to listen to it, the link's in the description. We shall move on. We shall play another commercial.
Hey, Joey, I got some stuff you just gotta try. What is it? Pot, marijuana.
Come on, smoke it. It's stimulating, mind expanding, safer to use than alcohol, and as much a part of growing up as smoking corn silk behind the back fence.
Good health to all from Rexall.
So, all right, for our next video, we go to the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Power Breakdown. And this week, it wasn't this week, it was last week, but you didn't do a Bigfoot video this week, so. But we're going to get a little bit meta here, ladies and gentlemen. The fourth wall is going to sort of blur. Phil reviews a video. We're going to review a video Phil did about a video we reviewed on this show. That's like breaking the fourth wall. That's like 12 walls broken right there. For those of you who remember, I absolutely hated this video with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns. In fact, now that it's on, give it the old.
Come on! In like a wrecking ball.
I hated this video. But Phil does a little breakdown on it. It's classic Phil. He takes a good look at the person who uploaded it and judges it on its own merits. So it's pretty terrible. Kevin, what did you think of this?
I agree with Phil. It was a ride on the poo-choo train, and I think that this is clearly a case of I need to know what kind of camera this is to see whether it's got some kind of an issue with it. But to me, it seems like it's a combination of a digital zoom plus auto focusing issues. And that's what I saw. I mean, it's clearly zooming in and out while you're looking at that, trying to find what it's supposed to focus on, and that kind of situation with a camera, in most cases, causes some pixelation issues that causes things to come in and out. So I know people are going to be surprised for me to say that, but there is a difference between optical zoom and digital zoom and autofocus, and so. It does really need, you do need to know what kind of camera it is to sort of rule that out. And like I said, Phil did a good thing. I mean, Long Island is not the type of place that you would think that this would be a common occurrence, although it would have to be of a interdimensional type thing for it to exist in Long Island, in my opinion. But I didn't see that.
One interesting thing about the camera is normally you would expect to see this sort of compression in using and maybe some After Effects if you wanted to put some screen into it or something. You know what I mean? It's usually people will compress it so much that you can't really tell where maybe CGI ends and the actual video begins. And this kind of reminded me of that, but obviously there's no CGI involved. So yeah, I think whatever camera he did use was involved with digital zoom, which as everyone knows, has used a camera with that. It sucks. All it does is just enlarge the pixels that already exist in the image. So you're expanding it, you're compressing it. So you got more pixelation when you zoom in. Yeah, it's just like if you took a normal shot with one of these at the normal distance and then stuck it into a processor afterwards and then zoomed in on it, with an edit software, you're going to have the same results. But yeah, this thing was, the thing that really got me was the setup and the fact that he's really posting a lot of, it's obvious what he's doing on his channel. And in the area that there are some woods, in Long Island, but it's not a habitat area. That's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah. For my part, I don't think we need to poke holes in the cloaking of Bigfoot video. Chubbs, what did you think?
Well, Phil always, hits it on the nose there, and he brought up the fact that a lot of this guy's videos, and I've checked a bunch of them out, like it's pretty much his backyard, so it raises a lot of red flags there. And I always love videos about cloaking where the whole idea of it is you're filming something that's invisible. I don't know how we're supposed to even see what he's talking about. So I think it kind of fails in the end.
Yeah. I loved one of the comments, though. Probably one of the better comments I've ever had on a video. Someone says, well, you can tell that this is a cloaking Bigfoot because you can't see it.
Right.
Genius. And feel free to go to Phil's channel because he posted a really cool video, I think yesterday, about the Mother God cult, which is gaining some steam and really needs to be stopped.
That was a brilliant piece by my son Samuel.
Yeah.
It was a great and crazy video. It was really crazy.
I mean, that stuff's going. The Dr. Phil show's just uploading videos of that on his channel. So I always like Dr. Phil, but yeah, that cult is just insane. And and I would put above Johnson in terms of cult insanity.
Well, he has cloaking Bigfoot in his backyard.
He's got cloaking everything in his backyard. I mean, I got sent a no, I'm not going to rag on Johnson, so I'm going to shut up. We're going to move on now.
You keep throwing them up, and I'll keep hitting them out of the park, buddy.
I've got a strict rule that I'm only allowed to rag on Johnson once a month on this show, and we did the Trump video 3 weeks ago, so I've still got another week to go.
You know what really upset me about that, and that may cause some Trump voters to go Democrat. That pisses me off.
Not a political show.
Sorry.
Vote, please. Just vote. Just if you want to vote Republican, I don't care. Democrat, I don't care. Just vote. Okay. So people fought and died for that. I've lost the commercial. Oh, here we go.
Howdy! Hi, I'm Spike, and when I'm driving down Route 9W on a hot summer day, me and the missus always stop at Dickens Fruit Stand. They've got everything from fruit to vegetables, homemade pies, but there is nothing like their cider. Ain't that right, honey? Uh-huh. Dickens cider. Yes, sir. Why, even though we were late for church last Sunday, she had to have a little Dickens cider. Uh-huh. She says there ain't nothing like it. Even my minister says his wife enjoys a little Dickens cider now and then. Hey, why don't you bring some home in our protective plastic rim bottle? That way it'll stay fresh. Or you can let it sit a while and have some hard Dickens cider. It's good at lunch, good at dinner, and there's nothing like waking up with a Dickens cider. Dickens Fruit Stand, just off Route 9W and Country Road 69. Open 24 hours. Because after a chilly summer night, I like to snuggle up in bed with a hot Dickens cider.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, add a little bit of your cloves and your cinnamon. You add a little spice to your life.
That's a good one. I can't mute my mic either during the commercials anymore because my mic has to be on for it. So when I laugh, it's just going to come through. Okay, so this next video, I'm just going to boo this one in advance because I didn't care for it at all. I can't even tell what's happening. So the title of the video is Bigfoot sighting. Oh my gosh. School children captured close-up video of Bigfoot running at them. Now it's looped footage of about 20 seconds of this. And then it's just looped. And I've watched it multiple times. There is the supposed thing, but it's just like a shadowy thing. You can't even tell for sure. I mean, it could be the Rougarou, it could be a chupacabra, it could be the Loch Ness Monster. You can't see anything. I don't like this video at all. Kevin, I believe you did some breakdown stuff on it.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that I mean, I couldn't see anything from the very get-go. So what I did was I downloaded the video and ran it through, my processing software here, and I scrubbed it frame by frame. And you're right, it is looped, which is a pisser because you can't really tell where the thing starts and where it stops. But then I just went back through it and looped it, and right before you see the thing that's supposed to be the thing, if I'm determining that right, there's a frame of bright light that just takes up the whole frame. So whatever it is cut in, and it's just like I said, it's just not. I mean, the person who originally put this up was called the Griefer. And I mean, I'm not really big on Minecraft parlance, but isn't that the person who comes around and pisses your stuff off in Minecraft?
That's not Minecraft, it's gamer speak for a
troll. Oh, is it? Yeah, I don't know anything about that. But I mean, isn't that the person who's doing it? I mean, I didn't see. I mean, he's saying possible Bigfoot in the original video or Dogman. So, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see anything, to be honest with you, and I didn't like it.
It was awful. Chubbs, what did you think?
Yeah, it took me a couple viewings to see what they were talking about, and there's about a split second of, I hate to say, it looks like a costume. It looks like a classic werewolf mask, and it's funny because it it's something that's supposed to be like jumping at these kids, and they run for about 2 seconds, and then nothing happens. So eh, I guess it's supposed to be scary, but I remember the old hoaxing videos where somebody sees something and they run for a long time and are out of breath. And like Kevin said, there's a lot of cuts in this, and I think it was an old school, like, we're gonna put a mask on somebody and they're gonna jump out for a second. So that's all I got out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just add a point here too, that I mean, these kids have to have a lot of savvy if they're recording this on their cell phone, right? They're going out in the woods, they see something like that, and they're not running away. I mean, and then they turn the camera off. I mean, obviously this isn't the whole video either. I mean, I can tell you, I'm a 45-year-old guy, or no, I'm a 50 now. Holy crap. Anyway, but I've seen some crap in my life, and I could tell you that I wouldn't have the sense of ability to turn off the camera if I was trucking. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem like that's right. So we're not getting the whole video, and we didn't get the audio, which is a bummer too. So I mean, again, it's just there's not a lot to go on there. But I didn't even see it. I didn't even see what they were trying to.
I'm by no means a breakdown expert, but this video wasn't so much a bunch of red flags as one continuously red flag. Phil, you are the expert breakdowner. What did you think?
This is only a small segment of another video called The Aggressive Bigfoot Video by NVTV, who got it from someone else. These are not kids in the video, by the way. These are adult males. The video is probably about a little over 2 minutes long. And I did a breakdown of it called The Aggressive Bigfoot Video.
Well, that makes sense then.
And it was a setup. The gentleman in question, they leave the area briefly, then they turn around and come back. Then they leave the area briefly. The Bigfoot hangs around in the area. He makes a couple of guest appearances before the charge, coming out from behind trees, just going back and forth. It's pretty obvious a setup, and you can see that it's definitely a costume as well. So yeah, it's pretty lame, and that's the story.
Well, in which case, then I'm going to change my opinion to a thumbs up and give him a fanfare. Well trolled, sir.
Way to steal a clip, man.
Way to steal a clip.
It is whenever you take a clip, cut it up, change the description, and say that these kids are seeing this thing after school in the daytime, and then they go out to. It's amazing what you can do with that.
It was well trolled. Fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, like the moron I am. Okay, another commercial. Here we go.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Honest Ed's Used Cars, where every car we sell is backed by an ironclad guarantee that is so complete and comprehensive that we really don't see any need to put it in writing. And remember Honest Ed's motto, if any used car dealer anywhere in the country says he can sell you the same car cheaper than we will, then he's even a bigger liar than I am.
Yeah, I bought a car from Honest Ed's once.
That's some good stuff right there. Alrighty then. So this is Missing 411, the concept rather than the book series that really, really annoys Phil. This is actually the story of the boy that we featured on the very first episode of this show. The kid that went missing in the woods and told his parents that he was looked after by a kindly bear. And from that, a lot of people thought that he might have been talking about Bigfoot. It was a good story then, it's a good story now. A certain man with the initials DP is not mentioned at all, Phil, so don't get angry. What did you think of the book, the film, the video? What is wrong with it?
Who are you asking?
Phil, sorry. Oh my god.
Oh, me? Okay. Well, gosh. He was gone for 2 days. Regardless of some of the reports that stated it was sub-zero temperatures, it was raining. Portion that is, some of the time it was raining, not all the time. It was some of the nights it got down to near freezing. But he's a 3-year-old boy. They're very pliable. He was wearing a long sleeve jacket. Even though people say he wasn't dressed for the weather, he did go out to play in a long sleeve jacket and therefore was dressed for the weather at the time. And the sheriff's department and search and rescue reported that the only reason they believe he survived was that he was constantly moving around. When he was found only 50 yards into the woods, about not even a quarter mile away from the house. And his story, as far as having a furry friend, and the fairy friend, could be a fairy friend. Ask Kevin. It could be a furry friend in the woods and so forth, and it was a bear. And people are basically saying, well, it could have been a Bigfoot. None of that applies if you consider the fact that, first of all, he's a 3-year-old boy who's subject to imaginary things, especially when you're alone and in the woods and scared. So I'm thinking that there's really nothing to it other than a boy wandered off into the woods. And by the way, around that property is primarily orchards. I mean, it's not like it was, he did get caught up in some berry bushes. I think it was blackberry bushes or whatever, in which point he started screaming. And that's how they found him. But, prior to that, who knows where he was wandering around in, and orchards are not the most dangerous place in the world. So I'm thinking that there's really not that much to this story unless you want to just suppose the fantastic.
Well, we, of course, as Bigfoot researchers, do want to suppose the fantastic. By the way, at the beginning there, when I said, oh my God, I wasn't having a go at you. I was saying, oh my God, at myself, because I didn't say, Phil, what do you think? That was just a train wreck right back there. I apologise. Chubbs,
I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
Chubbs, what did you think of this video?
Well, I remember when this happened. It was big news. I do think the community, the Bigfoot community, kind of ran away with it a little bit and assumed a lot. We say, the imagination of a 3-year-old can be big, but I'd like to point out there are many stories of actually wild animals taking care of humans. So it could have been a bear situation. I don't think there's a reason to automatically jump to he said bear, but it could have been a Bigfoot or whatnot. But most likely, like Phil just said, he probably just got away from him, and he told what he thought, and I think people just kind of ran away with it too much.
Kevin, fairies or bears?
Here's the thing that I find interesting about it, and Chubbs is right. I mean, there are cases in India where children have been found in supposed wolves dens and stuff, suckling on wolves. I mean, not to mention Romulus and Remus. But I'm just going to say that I still don't. A 3-year-old kid is going to recognize or associate a man, even if it's hairy, with a man. A bipedal thing. I mean, obviously the kid's been around people his whole life. Why wouldn't he just say it was a hairy man? If it was in fact a Bigfoot, obviously he wouldn't know what Bigfoot was. But then on the other hand, is he going to associate a bipedal person being, let's put it that way, with a bear? Because that's not how bears work, So I mean, it's an interesting story. Again, it's going to go down in folklore for people to make whatever they want to. But if a kid gets, I mean, let's put it this way: if a kid goes out in the woods and he's smart enough to, get under a bunch of leaves and protect himself from the elements, just like any type of survivalist would, get under a debris shelter, he's going to make it for a couple of days. I mean, it might be as simple as that, but but again, it seems like this week I'm just the poo-poo king. No, it was a fairy. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, tree fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just one thing that Kevin brought up that I do agree with. Yeah, let's say that he did encounter a bear. I would say more than likely it was a young bear or perhaps even a cub that was sniffing around and just laid down next to him, shared body heat and so forth. Since most bears are in hibernation in February. But this one may have gotten away just like as the child got away. I mean, that's not beyond possibility. But Kevin brought up a great point about bipedal. Hey, if he mentioned that was on two legs, could have been a guy in a ghillie suit. But then again, why didn't he take the kid with him? That type of thing. So yeah, it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other. All we have left is supposition.
Yeah. I agree with you, Phil, but I do also think that the supercut of your voice saying that 3-year-olds are very pliable is going to go viral.
Thank you, Kevin. I know I can rely on you.
I'm not going to do it.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. It's already been done. Someone's already got it.
Moving
that to bombshell.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Well, that'll wrap us up for this week.
So soon?
I think so. I think we're out of videos. Yep, that's the last video. That will wrap us up for this week. Phil, you got any cool breakdowns coming up this week?
Frogman.
Frogman?
Yeah, Frogman.
The Lakeland frog. Loveland frog.
Yes. In Ohio. Mm-hmm. The legend, the myth, the sightings, the crap.
Does someone actually have a video of the Loveland frogman?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be bringing that up. Don't worry, it'll happen. By the way, I was meaning to ask you because I missed it completely. Keith and Colin, did they find the trail cam?
They did, yeah. We had a good week. I actually really enjoyed this week's cartoons. The trail cam one, I went a different direction with it than you suggested. But, well, Chubbs, you read them all. What did you think?
I enjoyed them. I love following it. I like seeing where it's going, and I like how I think your art's getting better every time.
Thank you.
Oh no! We can't have that. That's part of the mystique.
Oh
yeah, they are badly drawn.
It's just like when South Park went commercial. It's horrible.
Mm.
They're not South Park levels yet. But yeah, I did do the trail cam ones. They found it in the forest, and a bunch of characters posed in front of it, and it ended up with the guy who put the trail cam getting fired from his job.
Okay, I'm going to go view those. That's got to be great.
So next week we're doing the party rave Bigfoot. I'm looking forward to that. It's a good idea in my head. Chubbs, what are you breaking? Are you doing any reviews of anything?
Yeah, we're getting back on track. This week we're going to be going back to 1990 and looking at Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater.
Nice.
Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. Did you happen to see the movie that I recommended?
Not yet. It's on my list though.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking with you, man.
I can't remember the difference between Pump Up the Volume and Gleaming the Cube, if you remember that movie.
Oh, I skated back in the day, and it's another Christian Slater movie, so that's the right track. But Gleaming the Cube is known because Tony Hawk and the Bones Brigade, the old skating group, all performed in that movie. So this one, Bump Up the Volume, is about a pirate radio station. Well,
Right.
he's a pirate radio guy
Yeah.
that helps
Is that the one
town.
He lives in the. He lives. It's like a bunker in the back of his. Which one
His
is that?
friend has a bomb shelter in the movie.
Oh, that's
yes.
right. Okay, yeah. That's what I remember about it. Isn't that the
Yeah.
sad part? That's what I remember is how I wish I had a bomb shelter in my backyard.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Colonel, I have another recommendation if you've never seen it, and it's called Pirate Radio.
Pirate Radio.
I've got the T-shirt. I have a T-shirt. Yeah, Pirate Radio. It is probably one of the better made British movies that I've seen lately.
What do you mean better made? British?
Better made.
All British movies are great.
Better made than most, I would say.
Well, what he means by that is there's an Irish guy on it, so therefore it's funny.
That's true. But yeah, Pirate Radio is a must see for anybody. You got to see it, man. It's a story about the pirate radio stations that were offshore of the British coast, operating as a commercial radio station at a time when Britain was basically BBC oriented, and all kinds of mayhem ensues.
It's a great movie.
It is a fantastic movie.
It's a really, really good film. I recommend it as well.
And I have the Caroline Radio T-shirt. Yes.
Another, if you like British stuff, you might want to check out Father Ted as well.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Father Ted. It was a British TV show.
Yeah, Father Ted was classic.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I've seen episodes of that. You bet.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
There was a rumor there for a while that the Roman Catholic Church had killed the guy who played Father Ted.
Yeah. I bought into that a little bit because I really kicked off with that.
Yeah, but another thing that was a good one, I think it's on Netflix, is one called Moon Boy, and if you haven't had if you can find that, it's called Moon Boy. It's an Irish comedy. It's pretty funny.
Hold on, I'm gonna get a pen here. Hold on.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up because we've gone way over our 30.
No, we don't. It doesn't matter, man. I mean, if they want to hang out, they can hang out. Don't be so persnickety.
Persnickety.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Nobody's ever called me persnickety in my entire life. I feel violated.
And if you are interested in the wee bit of history of paranormal stuff, I am writing a wee thing that I'll put on my Facebook. It's my Facebook public anyway, so it doesn't matter. But just on the evil eye and the Irish belief in the evil eye and curses, and the idea of the evil eye around the world. About 38% of cultures believe in what's called the evil eye. So I'm gonna talk about that a wee bit this week.
Cool. I believe in it. I believe that works.
Voodoo works.
Well, that too, yes. Yeah.
I made a voodoo doll of someone once, stabbed it, and they felt pain. Might be because I shot them, but I said it was because of the doll. Black Books as well. There's another great comedy, British comedy. Red Dwarf, of course. If you haven't seen Red Dwarf, then...
Oh, Red Dwarf. Come on, that's a classic.
Classic right there. Black Eye.
I love the young ones, man.
Young ones. Well, that's up there in Canada.
What?
Isn't the young one up in Canada?
No,
you're
you're thinking about You're thinking about Degrassi Junior High or something. No, the young ones was in the 80s, you know. Rick
Very
Mayall.
British.
I was thinking
right in the middle of Thatcher. Who,
Yeah.
Hold on. They were right in the middle of Thatcher?
Thatcher's
All at
rule.
the same time?
Right in the middle of Thatcher's rule. And nobody liked Thatcher. She was kind of like our Trump.
Well, she was a bit stiff.
I don't mean that Trump's a bad president. I mean that nobody seems to like him, even though he was elected.
She was a little frigid.
Yeah, she was.
I'm
And
gonna
she
have
declared war on the Falklands just to get reelected. So.
I am going to have to go, guys, here, so I'll sign off now because there's somebody at my front door here. And...
Oh, well, go. Get out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, yeah, let's wrap this up.
See you later, Kevin.
I still haven't seen the rest of League of Gentlemen.
You need to watch the rest of that, man.
I can't find it anywhere. I mean, they had the first series, and then all of a sudden I'm left high and dry.
League of Gentlemen is really one of Britain's better recent comedies, and so that'll wrap us up this week. We will return next week as far as the host of Medic. Maybe Kevin will return, maybe Nicky will return. Who knows? It's all up in the air. We don't know. But it's good.
I'll be happy to. I came back. I just muted my mic.
Well, you're more than welcome to come back next week.
Yeah, Kevin and I are going Bigfooting.
Make sure you get a video of that and break it down with your shot.
Well, I'm pretty sure we'll get a cloaking one because you can't see them now.
Right. Every shot we get is going to be a cloaking Bigfoot.
Red circles. Oh wait, no, it's yellow. Red for a physical one, yellow for a fun. All right.